Take a little sippy, and that's my wife's fault. I can't believe I just said sippy on record. Well, maybe YouTube's recording, maybe it's not. Who gives a toot? I certainly don't. All right, so what's up? What's up? Coach Bruce here on day 3 of our ADHD struggles. Today we're going to be talking about follow through. Yesterday we talked about ADHD struggle part 2, which was masking, and then the day before that was making things bigger than they are. So if you are interested in those topics, go check out our previous day's streams because they were awesome, so fun. But today we're going to talk about follow through. What one of us ADHD people has lived a life without struggling to follow through? If you exist, please identify yourself because you are my hero. Um, this is something I used to struggle with greatly. So, like, I'm not saying that I've mastered it. I am not the master of follow through by any means. But I think what is really important is that I've gained a self awareness about the things that I'm weak at, and uh, my ability to like default back into those states where I'm doing those same behaviors again. And I have learned to, for one, avoid the shame cycle that comes with not following through. And that's not by just like being like, well, I didn't do it, I don't care, because you do care. Like, if you said you were going to do something, you care at least to some degree, because why else would you have said that you were going to do it? Either you were trying to make somebody happy by saying that you would do it, or it was something that you actually wanted to do. So not following through is letting somebody down. So you should care. You should care that you didn't follow through. But caring and punishing yourself are two very different things. Being able to look at a situation and say, "Damn, I didn't follow through on that like I wanted to. I need to do better. I'm going to do better next time." And then letting that conversation end there is really hard to do. Um, it's something that has taken me a long time to like really embrace this idea that my past self is still me. Like I like the person who messed up and didn't do the thing, whatever the thing was, is still me. So all of the trash talk, all the I can't believe I did that. What an idiot. What a jerk. What a you're a terrible father. You're a bad husband. All that stuff. Like as much as I was hurling those insults into the past, I was still talking to the person who's sitting here today, and that's really important to comprehend because whenever you're talking poorly to your past self, it's filtering through your current body. Like so, it is. There's no bypassing it. Like you need to speak better to yourself. You deserve to have an inner dialogue that is encouraging. I talked to one of my clients about this. I was what I said was like we need to turn your inner dialogue. We don't need to like stop the inner dialogue because that's not something that shouldn't be the goal. Our inner dialogue helps us get better. It helps us heal. It helps us set goals. It does all kinds of great things for us if we optimize it. So what I said to him was, we need to make your inner dialogue a sitcom dad. Like let's try to get your inner dialogue to Danny Tanner, like the dad from Full House. Like, are you aware? Are you familiar with that? And he's like, he laughed at me. He's like, yeah, I know who that is. He didn't he didn't identify with that so much because he knew Bob Saget's comedy and didn't really see him as Danny Tanner, but more as a comic who was a little bit raunchy and maybe not the best inner dialogue. So, but the idea is still the same. Go with Carl Winslow or the dad from Step by Step. The reason why I said get your inner dialogue, let's try to shift that more to a sitcom dad, was because whenever DJ from Full House or uh, Laura from oh my gosh, Family Matters messed up, what did the sitcom dad do? Did he berate and beat those children? No. Did he express his disappointment and show them love anyways, he did. So I think that having that kind of inner dialogue is such a goal for an ADHD person, because we're going to talk to ourselves about the things that we've done. We're going to have feelings about that. It's important to like encourage those feelings to be that of support and like recognition of the bad things that we've done, but also that they're not the end all be all. There is something on the other side of those behaviors, and that is whatever we want it to be. If we had a moment of weakness, or we faltered, or we were scared, or whatever reason we didn't follow through with that thing, that doesn't have to be the end of it. There's always another tomorrow. So make your, I'm trying to say this right. So make your inner dialogue a TV sitcom dad. Have Danny Tanner up in your dome telling you, yeah, you messed up this time. Whenever you rode that bike, you fell off and you hurt yourself. And that sucks, doesn't it? Yeah. But what happens if you quit trying? You never learn how to ride that bike. So let's pick ourselves up back up again. I'll give you a hug, tell you I love you, and I'll help you get back on the bike so we can continue to grow and evolve, versus having that inner dialogue that says, you're never going to be anything. You're never going to do any good. Just stop trying. Just be paralyzed. Just quit on today and quit on tomorrow and quit every day after that. You're just doing good enough to be alive. That's not living. Start to give yourself goals and things to grow towards, but also the grace and forgiveness to fail and try again. I think that the fear of failure is the biggest reason why ADHD men struggle with the follow through. Like, sure, we forget things. That's a big part of it too. But I think that whenever it's a decision of, I know about the thing, I'm supposed to do that thing, I'll put it off till later. I'll put it off till later. I'll do it tomorrow, is because we're afraid of the results. We don't have confidence that when we do that thing, we're going to be successful. And I don't think that necessarily means like we're not taking the test because we're not going to score 100. We're afraid to take the test because we're afraid we're not going to know our names, and we're going to write backwards, or we're just going to do some ridiculous kind of unreasonable thing that we would never actually do if we actually just did it. But in our minds, we do the same thing as day one. It's the same struggle, as we make it bigger than it actually is. And then so with that, we make it bigger than it actually is, and then we struggle to follow through. And those two things go hand in hand. If you can support yourself through failure and start to change that inner dialogue, it's going to be much easier not to make things bigger than they are. You're going to start to just look at it and say, this is a task I need to complete. There are some things that go into it, but it's not as much as I think it is. If I just start doing it, if I just do, like a good rule of thumb is, if you have a task to do that seems like too much, do it for 5 minutes. Just do it for 5 minutes. If you can just commit to doing it for 5 minutes, then reassessing, then do 5 more minutes, and then do 10 more minutes. And by that point, you're probably already almost done with whatever the task was, because we think that every task is going to take 3 hours when likely it's going to take 25 minutes. So just do 5 minutes. And if you do 5 minutes and you honestly just really, really want to quit, sit down for a second and say, can I do 5 more minutes? Who's going to be hurt the most by me not doing 5 more minutes? Is it anybody else, or is it going to be me whenever I enter my shame cycle again? It's likely going to be you. So, and I'm not going to say that other people won't be disappointed as well, but as I've said before, we need to stop trying to shoulder everybody else's emotions and start keeping our own side of the street clean, worrying about how we're processing what we've got, because it's plenty. Like, processing our own stuff is plenty, but if we can actually process, if we can actually be on top of and engaged with our emotions and our feelings and our thought processes, then all that other stuff is going to come in line too. We're going to be more cognizant of other people's emotions. We're going to be able to see how we affect others. Like, there are social cues to read, and that is difficult. There are lots of things that are going to be difficult, but because we're ADHD. ADHD can make things more stressful, But the stress that we can manage and that we can get rid of is going to make other things that are not ADHD that increase the ADHD symptoms, they're going to make them so much easier. Like that's why my coaching doesn't focus on trying to fix ADHD. It focuses on trying to take the fact that we have ADHD, embrace it, own it, and look at what can we do outside of being ADHD to try to function more efficiently and more focused and with purpose in our lives. That's then going to reduce the stress in our ADHD, which is then going to reduce the amount of effect our ADHD has in our lives, because ADHD works in the brain as a stress response much, much higher. Like the more, if you ever realize this, whenever you enter a stressful situation, you feel much more confused. It's harder to make decisions. You get distracted easier. Every noise feels louder. All of a sudden, the lights feel too bright. Your clothes aren't comfortable. Like all that stuff starts to kick up because we're stressed out now, and it's just pumping through that output where it's already coming through, which is through our normal ADHD symptoms. It's just, instead of like giving us some brand new thing we've never felt before, it's just cranking them up to the max because there's already these outlets for stress. So, I mean, that's not exact scientific explanation, but to me, like that's the way that it flows through your brain non-technically. I think non-technically. I'll rock with that word. So, follow through. Just follow through. When as for the ADHD portion of it, the way that I work on follow through is I use an Outlook calendar for everything that I'm supposed to do that is not part of my regular schedule. If it's something that I'm trying to add to my schedule, I put it on my Outlook calendar. Otherwise, I will forget and I won't follow through. And I don't want to be a person who doesn't keep to the. I want to be honest to my word. So if I say I do, like I'm going to do something, and it's not something I would usually be able to remember, I'm like, oh, that's pretty new. I'm probably gonna have trouble integrating that into my schedule. I put it on my Outlook calendar, so then I get a reminder on all my different devices, because usually that's where I get lost, is whenever I'm sitting here on the computer, making content or writing something, or working on funnel or website development. Doing all that stuff can get really, really tunnel vision. But then that calendar appointment pops up and is like, hey, you got something to do in 30 minutes. Okay, this is something I said I'd do, or else I wouldn't put it on my calendar. It's important to me, obviously, because I put it on my calendar. And now it's giving me a countdown on the computer screen. It's like, this event is happening in 30 minutes. Work. Like, oh crap, what does that thing happen? I look back down. Okay, it's in 12 minutes. Okay, I need to end what I'm doing now so I can go do the thing I'm supposed to do. And that is how I actively combat my ADHD, my ADHD's effect on follow through. So that is, I came up with this yesterday when I was posting about yesterday's live, but ADHD career hacks, or ADHD career advancement hack. So let's talk about ADHD career advancement hack number 3. Use a Outlook calendar. It doesn't have to specifically be an Outlook calendar. That's just what I use. Use whatever you want to. But if it's important, put it on a calendar that you are going to see whatever device you're using. That way you are reminded at multiple times in multiple different locations, and you are able to keep up with your different duties. If you're a person who forgets on a multiple basis to, like, let's say your duties are, if you work in an office, you're the person who's supposed to make coffee and then clean the bathrooms before you leave. Set an Outlook reminder. Let's say you do it on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Send an Outlook reminder for Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 4:30. Clean coffee filter, clean bathroom, whatever else, and then lock that in for the next, like, this calendar event forever. It repeats. It repeats daily. Then do a custom schedule to where it's Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Boom, done. Now every day that's going to pop up and remind you, because it's hard. So that is my ADHD career hack. Use a calendar. Just use a calendar. Use a digital calendar to help yourself stay committed to the things that you need to do on a daily basis to make sure you're following through with your responsibilities. It's a really easy one. Just do it. And then get in the habit of not taking on a new responsibility without your phone out, putting it in your calendar. Like, I don't care if you make people wait. I don't care if it's like inconvenient for them. Don't commit to it until it's in your calendar. Like, so whenever I start to, take on a new client, or um, say like I'm going to go for a coffee to pitch somebody on a funnel, I don't do it until I say, wait, hold on a second, let me pull up my calendar real quick, because otherwise I'll double book myself, or um, I will say like, I'll put it on my calendar, then I don't do it. And then I'm in the same boat of not following through. So I try my very best to not put anything, like claim anything on the calendar until I actually put it in, and then say, okay, it's in my calendar now. And then that, usually I invite the person also who's involved in the thing, so they know that it's in my calendar, because if they know me well, they know that that's something I need to do. Um, quick story time before I wrap up. So today I was on a call with a client, and this is, speaking to follow through, is like I dedicated myself to doing these lives for 30 days, because I knew that there were people who wanted to hear what I have to say. Like, I knew that I was called to share my message. I know that there's an audience for me. Like, struggling to find them, all that, whatever. But whenever I committed to doing this, I didn't think about the fact that, as much as like I'd have a podcast, I'm good at that. I am, I've been presenting for various different things. I've been in sales. Like, I'm good at talking, but I'd never had to just talk to myself. And whenever I had to do this, it was like this brand new challenge that I was, if you go back and watch the first couple of episodes, or sorry, they're not episodes, the first couple of live streams, it was a little bit of a struggle for me, because I didn't know how that structure worked. I didn't really know how to just have a conversation and tell a story and whatever. But I decided that I committed to it. I'm just going to follow through, and I'm just going to push through this awkwardness, and I'm just going to get better at it. I'm just going to get better. I want to get better, so I'm just going to do it. And once again, moving with intention like that really helps to move your fear out of the way as an obstacle. Because if you are just going to do it no matter what, then your brain accepts that fact and is like, okay, well, I guess if he's going to do it no matter what, I might as well not create an additional fear for him to, you know, I hope that's driving with you. So anyways, like, I just pushed through and kept doing it anyways, I'm talking to my client today, and he is like, so can you give me any pointers on creating content? Because the way you do your lives, you just have so much swagger, and your content is like, it's just so pulled together. I was like, me? Like, me? Like, I'm doing my best to just like, give create a topic, tell a story or two, and try to give some value. And I walk them through what I do, and gave them some pointers, because as much as it's hard for me to accept that compliment as a real thing, I have to understand that he's coming from a place where he's never done any of those things that I used to do. He's never been a public speaker for a job. He's never been in sales. He's never had to do that stuff. So I have to have the self-awareness to know that there are things that I am good at. There are things that I have a natural proclivity to, and there are things that I've been training for years that other people haven't done. So the point of that story is, never underestimate yourself. You're doing better than you think you are, but also push through until you make it, because somebody's gonna see or hear what you're doing, and is gonna take even just a tidbit of hope out of it, and be able to grow because of it. And I know that I've left this world in a better place than I created it, now having put these words out for people to consume. So that's super exciting for me. And I'm going to wrap it up there so I can go and spend some time with my family at a fairly decent hour today. And yeah, just so you guys know, as far as the 30 days go, like, I'm convinced that I'm going to be good, because I've got several things working that are going to be huge for me. But they are a little dependent on me doing the job to capitalizing on the actual income. So I believe in myself. It just hasn't. Soon, I think I will have secured actual payment up front for the things I'm creating. And at that point, I'm going to be off to the races, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, Bruce Alexander has entered the chat, and he is off to the races. So that's a weird mixed metaphor, but I'm cool with it. So thank you for everybody out there who helped share my message and who is tuning in and listening to this stuff, because you have given me belief that my purpose is real and that I can help people. So I really appreciate you. And um, the offer still remains for a a mini coaching package, 4 weeks, 30-minute sessions. We will just dig into what your obstacles are in engaging with passion and purpose in your life, and how ADHD affects that, and how we can meet your ADHD where it's at and move forward in your life in a way that gives you an excitement and an eagerness that you haven't had in a while. And I'm doing that completely free without any expectation whatsoever, except for if you enjoy it and you get something out of it, you do a video testimonial for me, because I really, really, really just want to help people grow right now, because I wish I would have had that whenever I was struggling 3 years ago. So, everybody out there, thank you so much for your time. I love you. Be yourself. Love yourself. Peace.